All right, we can go ahead and get started now. Tonight I just thought we'd go over a quick recap, have some feedback open, and then we'll move on into Alex's presentation on VR and some other graphics research that he's done over the last semester. So I'm just kind of recycling the presentation I used when I recruited people, but I think it's applicable because it holds us true to what we promised. So we wanted to get people connected to their curriculum. I think we accomplished that in some way. We probably could have done a better job, but we introduced some web dev topics to people that haven't experienced that before. Introduced a bit of Python. Did not get into React like I was hoping, but that is life sometimes. Anybody get hired here this semester? I did. Anybody else?
Hey, so it works.
Yeah. Okay. Keep on applying. Applications are definitely still open. Like I said before, just because you're freshmen, I've heard people getting internships with just some experience with CS2. So don't rule yourself out. Apply. It'll probably be worth your time at least to have a resume. Empowering community, we have not done that at all. We need to do better a job at that next semester. Slack. How do people like Slack? Honestly, is it working well?
Yeah.
I know Discord is better, but
It gets the job done.
yeah. Would you notice significant improvements to the ways that you use Slack if we switch to Discord? Okay. We'll continue using Slack then.
I will say that no one really checks it, but I don't think it's Slack's fault. I think it's just
Well, and there's the helpful at channel thing. So you could just
yes. Even if I
Message
do
it.
that though, no one really reacts. It's kind of annoying. But
Yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's Slack's fault.
that's a good segue into our groups. We haven't done a ton of stuff with the groups this semester, and that is not on any elite's fault. That's on me. I got that started really late, so we're gonna look at building that out next semester a lot heavier. And I'm saying next semester, and it's like, oh, well, what are we going to do differently? There are things that we're going to do differently. I'll get to that in a bit. Carter, you had your hand up.
Well, I was just gonna say with it kind of things kind of, I mean, maybe this is just like not thinking about it. It seems like with stuff kind of starting so close to like the end of the semester anyway. It's
For sure.
Outside of the itself, so.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Next semester, hopefully we'll be less busy in the beginning. And we'll be so committed to our projects that we won't want to give up when things get busy in the spring, right? Women in computing, yeah, how's that going? Going good?
Well, we are hosting study sessions for computer science.
And that's not just open to women, right?
No, it's open to anyone.
Study groups are the best.
the fact
So,
that they exist is again is probably a win.
yes. Yeah, we got that going. I'd like to now kind of shift into what we're actually going to do differently next semester. Victor and I, this semester it's been president, vice president, but next semester it's going to be co-presidents. This will enable us to do a lot more to help you get stuff done. So what this is going to mean, Victor's going to be up here a lot more, and I'm going to be out there a lot more. So that means I'll be helping the group leads. I'll be helping our outreach team. And Victor will help coordinate these meetings so that we can get professors and researchers to come in and give more disciplined talks on ACM topics of interest.
And also because of that, we're gonna need to look for
a vice president and as well as other officers for next year. So I'm interested in that. Is that next semester?
Yeah, specifically, secretary and treasury. Just kind of keep it in your mind. We'll send something out the first week of next semester, or even a week before, Probably want people that have experienced the club a little bit to serve in those roles. And truly, they're not all that involved, but it's a good way to get your foot in the door and to kind of experience what we experience every week. So then when you become president someday, it'll be a little easier. Is there any other comments or questions? Rip me apart. I can take it. Pizza
Are
place?
we having like a meetings for like career prep and that sort of stuff?
Yep, that will be a next semester thing as well.
I didn't like dating to react.
Hmm?
I didn't like dating it to react.
That is fair. Oh, actually, thank you for reminding me of that. Part of this talk too is going to be opportunities over winter break. If you want to learn React, there's going to be opportunity to really get your hands dirty with it this winter break. I'm going to be coordinating meetings over over Slack, maybe Discord, we'll see. So that you can build out a personal website or work on the ACM website, something like that, so that you get experience with actual web dev. I haven't had a ton of success, honestly, so I'm hoping to learn a lot as well. If there's somebody who has that experience and they want to take up the lead on that, feel free. Reach out to me after the meeting or right now, whatever. And beyond that project, there's also going to be, with Rocketry Club, if you're interested in physics simulation, we are going to be modeling self-landing rocket, essentially, just based on the drag coefficients of different fins and eventual landing gear. So it tilts itself and then land on a flat plane. That's going to be a continuing project all the way to the end of next semester. So if you want to get involved, we've already got 3 members of the club here. Theo's one of them. That's going to help us on that. So it's going to be a good team. You won't be alone if you are interested in that.
How would you go about getting involved with that? Just talk to you after the meeting.
Yep, talk to me after the meeting, DM me if you're not here right now. Anything. You have a question?
No.
Okay.
This is important, trust me.
Okay. That's it. I'm going to introduce Alex. I had Alex in my graphics class last semester. He's the wizard that I misplaced Carter for at the beginning of these meetings. He was talking about VR in class. I was like, that's crazy. So it's really cool that he's continued doing that. I'm really excited to see what he's got prepared for us.
I've got a bit of a 2-part thing here. There's a little presentation, and then we'll be doing demos of the experiment that'll be on here down in the Scive Lab, just down the hall. And those will run around 10 minutes each. So if people want to come down and mess around with some VR equipment, do some experiments and help me get data, that would be great for both of us. There.
Are you a screen share?
Probably not supposed to do that, huh? Let's see if my laptop decides to crash today. Shouldn't.
Crash.
All right.
Tray stuff on Messiah.
I've reset my graphic settings and everything. I'm like, hopefully it doesn't do it anymore. So the experiment,
No, that's just the lights.
the experiment's about task efficiency and situational awareness. So what's going on around you in virtual reality through different camera perspectives. So, the traditional view is you just look where your headset is, right? So the reason I care about this and why you should care about this is VR is used a lot in like teleoperation, whether there's a warehouse with autonomous robots moving stock around and there's a problem, or maybe you need to go into a building that's about to collapse, to see if there's someone there. If you just go in, the building could collapse on you, but if you send a little robot in, figure that out. Well, in order to do any task where you're monitoring something, you need to know what's around you. Because, if there's, say you're operating a crane remotely, there's someone behind you, you swing the crane, you smash the truck up, no one's having a good day. So there have been numerous studies that have shown that VR situations like simulations and training is effective to train people and make them better at the thing that they're going to be doing. And most of these experiments will do something like they'll add audio cues or they'll make things move around in the environment. But none of them have really addressed looking at the scene from a different perspective. So that's what this work is working on doing. So the alternative that I've proposed is you're doing a block stacking task, and each round you're going to have a different view. So one view will be just a standard view, one view you'll be looking at it from above, and the third view you'll be able to position yourself anywhere you want to do the task. And tasks are, I have it later in here, but the tasks are to stack some blocks of a certain color. Pretty easy to do, you'd think, but it can be trickier than it seems when you're looking at it from somewhere else. But each time you stack them, a new task will come. And if there's one that's, you want to skip it, maybe you need to stack 4 green blocks, you knocked all the green blocks on the floor, you just skip that task. It'll reset, go on to the next one. So it's built in Unity and uses the HTC Vive headset. Before any of the actual, keeping data starts, you'll be able to have the headset on, mess with the blocks, just get used to the environment. So here's what the scene looks like. There's some black spheres around you. There's a table with a bunch of blocks, some pillars around to help you orient yourself. And so with the block stacking, you try to get them to the right height. They snap in place, disappear, new task starts. I'll read out what the new task is when it starts. So there's no audio in the simulation. I'll just read it out to you. If you want to skip, you can say skip. This is what the table looks like up close. There's just 10 blocks of each color scattered about. But the important thing about this research is, we're studying situational awareness. So what's going on around you while you're stacking these blocks is really important. So all of these spheres, the 8 spheres around you, every 30 seconds or so, they'll change. And so you're going to need to be looking around while you're doing the stacking and just watching for what's changing around you. When you see the spheres change, just call out, 3 spheres or whatever how many are lit up, and then get back to stacking the blocks. So that's basic explanation. If you want to come down to MLAW, you can try it out. Each one will be about 10 minutes, little intro period, 2.5 minutes for each of the rounds, and then a little break in between. And yeah, that's that. I guess.
Any questions?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions before I head out? Yeah.
So stacking the blocks is difficult. Is that because it's weird to work in VR, or because?
So like normal, like stacking it with like the standard view, like right in front of you, is super easy because it's intuitive, right? Your hand follows your hand, you squeeze and it picks up the blocks. But like the whole point of the experiment is to see when you're behind, right? You don't have that direct, here's my hand in front of me, because your hand is down there. So it's to see, can you still stack the blocks pretty well? For some people, it might be fine. For some people, it might be like, this is so disorienting, I have no idea what's going on. But when you're above, you can see all of the spheres, right? It's not like you have to keep turning around. It's like, oh no, I look there, I see everything around. So that's comparable to, say you're monitoring a battlefield or something. Instead of just looking out, maybe you've got a camera, or a drone or something, you can see everything that's going on. But now can you steer properly, right? It's situations like that. It's just to see, is this, is working from some other view feasible, or does going to that view make it so the thing you were doing, you're terrible at it now, right? And that's hard to know without testing it out and seeing what happens. So.
Is there any possibility to engage with this from home? Because I have a reverb. And it seems like an interesting thing, but I've got a headache right now, so we're still certain VR have the
I get that. It's in Unity, it uses Steam VR, like the Open VR SDK.
Yep.
No idea if, but it should.
I'm just thinking, like, is there a way for you to still like get usable data from that, or is like the different sets like a problem at all?
The issue is that as it is right now, it's kind of proctored. So, you read out the spheres, you say, I note it down, and I read out the tasks as they come in. Because just getting the dynamic audio is a whole nother process.
No,
So you would have to have somebody administer it to you under the same conditions, which would be kind of difficult to do. But yeah, yeah.
So I know the whole point of this experiment is to test whether it's like one person can do the same task, like from a different view.
Mhm.
But have you considered having two people, one looking top down and one doing the task to like communicate? Or-
That's something really interesting that could be done in some future work. This given task doesn't really suit itself to that. But one of when I was looking into the background of this kind of stuff and seeing what's been done before, there was one study involving like firefighting training, and you would have the pilot sitting in a virtual cockpit, but the radio announcer would be there but not there, right? So they were able to give them feedback, what the sensor said and what they would normally receive over the radio during the actual firefighting, but in a simulated. So that is something that could be useful. This doesn't test that, unfortunately, but it's a really interesting, if one person can do it, does adding more people make it better?
Right, well, like when you give an example of like the drone flying over, like looking down, I remember seeing something about like in the army, like there's like pilots who fly, and then like there's people like on like there's like cameras like below like the aircraft, and like there's like people looking down like look for bombing targets of this like a flyer, right? So I was thinking something like that.
Yeah, and like to use that analogy, what this is kind of testing is like, what if that pilot, right, has, maybe a visor or something that has an overlay of these different cameras. So there's, no delay from someone saying, hey, here's what you should look for. Right, the person doing it can see that information directly. So both are interesting. I don't know, maybe it sucks, maybe it's super powerful, but we got to have people test it out. Is anyone interested to come test it out? Well, I will stop the screen share then, and we can head on down. I've been asked to tell people not to mess with any of the other equipment in there. If you are interested in messing around with it, contact